Okay, I'm Professor Stephen Lu from University of Southern California, and I'm here to visit IIT-Bombay. And the purpose for my visit is to talk to my colleague IIT-Bombay to develop a brand new e-learning program, which is based on the distance education infrastructure, however, going to the next horizon. And the next horizon is something we call the no-distance learning. In other words, instead of using the IT facility to enlarge the distance between a professor and students, which is very important, we use the IT facility to eliminate the distance between the students, regardless where the students are located. Because there are three fundamental assumptions we're making in developing this program, which is called iPodia program. The first assumption is we believe in today's world, a lot of things you learn depends on with whom you learn. So if you learn together with people who has a different viewpoint, different life experience from you, you actually enrich your own learning because you learn different things. So that's number one assumption. What you learn depends on with whom you learn. The number two assumption is built upon number one. That is, if what you learn depends on with whom you learn, then if you are able to learn with people who are very different from you, then you learn more. So we try to really take advantage of the diversity of the students to enrich your learning opportunity. So because of that, the iPodia program now is building a global consortium. And so far we have signed up 7 leading universities, including IIT-Bombay, where we can have students from different parts of the world become close classmates with each other. So because students from different countries, different culture are so different from each other, so if they become the cohort, if they become the small team member, and they can not only learn the subject matter from professor, they can also learn the contextual understanding, which are very important of your subject understanding. And more importantly, they can develop a mutual understanding of each other. So we believe that with this kind of setting, that putting students without distance, regardless where they are, we can then enrich education to not only including the content knowledge of the subject, which the teacher can teach you, but to develop the contextual understanding of the subject and the mutual understanding of people. And we believe that leading to our third hypothesis, third assumption, that is learning together today can lead to a better world tomorrow. Because we believe that what the world lacks now is really understanding. And understanding should not be hindered by distance. If we develop mutual understanding with each other early on in our education, then the world will be a much better place. And therefore, I'm very happy to have this opportunity to work with IIT-Bombay, and hopefully we can bring this kind of interactive learning without border approach to build upon your distance education infrastructure, which is very impressive, and to really enrich the understanding between Indians' young generation and the world, and vice versa. And I believe that the notion of togetherness is really the new frontier for education. And that will be the next global education horizon. And I'm very pleased that the world has already become flat. If we talk about the flat world, we should have our students all get together without any institutional barrier, cultural barrier, and physical barrier. And this iPodia Alliance has already been developed over the past 3 years. And now we have University of Southern California, we have IIT-Bombay, we have Peking University in China, the best one in China. We have National Taiwan University in Taiwan. We have Korean Advanced Institute of Science Technology, KAIST, in South Korea. We have Technion, Israel Institute of Technology in Haifa, Israel. And we have Aachen in Aachen, Germany, and we have 7 executive board members. It is an independent international consortium. It does not belong to any school, but we all get together for the benefit of our students. And we are now in the process of expanding this consortium into South America, into Africa, into Middle East. And we are hoping and we believe that this platform, the iPodia platform, which enables the interactive learning without border, will make the world a much better place for everyone. The iPodia Alliance is very different from many other university collaboration. Number one, we are getting together for the benefit of our students, not for any financial gain. Therefore, we hold the revenue neutral principle. In other words, the IIT-Bombay students will register the iPodia course through IIT. So you don't have to pay tuition to take the joint courses. And in turn, our students will also take some courses from IIT. So this is almost like a frequent flyer program. Everybody share the mileage. So we don't have to really exchange tuition on hand. And the second thing is, we do not want to begin the discussion on joint degree. Instead, we want to put our student together, our course together, so we're focusing on joint courses rather than joint degree. And we believe that few years down the road, if all the courses become joint, become the same, then really the degree become the same. So the issue will go away. And the third thing is, we base on the mutual benefits, so everyone will contribute and take the same way. So this is really a volunteer consortium, and this can actually leading to a new model of how the world education can operate, and we call the classroom without border. And this is really a very exciting tipping point for the change of education. And I believe distance education has made a great contribution to how we teach and how people educate and learn. And I believe now is the time for us to take it to the next step and to really make sure they not only learn from professors, they learn from their classmates, make the world a better place. This is the first time I visit the IIT-Bombay. Because developing this iPodia program, I have visited many schools and their facilities there. And frankly, I was very impressed by the degree of the scale of your distance education program. And I believe a country like India, and you have a huge request for education. But we know that the good education resources are always in short supply. So I think your way of doing this distance education, that is try to record the resources happening in this premier campus and use this as the backbone to populate the knowledge all the way through different tiers into the rest of the country. I think that's a very smart model. As a matter of fact, this is certainly not the case in the United States, as you know. But I think many developing countries, like for example in China, I think this will work very well. As a matter of fact, I think maybe they should look into this model and to see how that can be an effective way to overcome the huge population challenge that has to be educated. I believe your distance education approach here is really a very new approach because you try to empower the many rather than empower the few. Traditionally, the university has always been for the few. And this is all for the few can have the privilege come over here. But I think the world has been very different. Now, if you really want to do good thing for the world, you have to have the way to empower the many. And I believe your distance education is a way to really cross this university border, to break away from the ivory tower, to empower the many. Frankly, I'm very impressed. When I heard the number that you mentioned, how many courses being there, how many students taking your courses, not only in your whole country, but beyond the national border, I was very impressed. I think this is really a new evidence that the technology, what technology can do in terms of disseminating knowledge, and what technology can fundamentally change the traditional ivory tower campus. And so I congratulate you for your achievement. I think this is amazing, and I think there's a lot of things we can learn. And certainly, I hope the iPodia program in the future can be your addition and can also give an opportunity to present your students to ours, and so we can all learn together. Well, this is an interesting question you ask, because initially, I think there are two kinds of reaction from faculty. This is speaking from my own experience. There's some faculty who will say, well, I will never deal with that. I don't want it. I don't believe I can do it. I will not do it. So they will resist on this technology into the classroom. There are also another kind of faculty who will say, no big deal. It's easy, okay? And no extra effort. I will just keep doing what I'm doing. It turns out neither of them are correct. Because number one, it is not that easy to do it. And number two, it is not that hard to do it. So you really have to understand that the fundamental challenge of bringing technology into your classroom is you have to change your pedagogical approach. In other words, you have to change how you actually teach. Because the possibility of interacting with students, the possibility of preparing material before, the possibility of archiving all the materials are very different from the traditional classroom. So often we find out faculty will take some time to adapt to it. And often faculty with a good attitude, open-minded, and they will really then discover very quickly that this is a great learning for them to improve their teaching skill. And rather than simply repeating the old things, just the differences in front of the camera. So we find out from, at least from our experience, that faculty now become really a better teacher, and they pay more attention to how students receive the material. And rather than in the traditional classroom, and you basically have no choice, you just come over, listen whatever I'm giving to you. And also faculty become more aware of how they prepare the material. And so I believe that if faculty really have an open attitude, there's a lot of things to learn. A lot of things to learn in terms of pedagogical skill, a lot of things to learn in terms of student to faculty interaction, student to student interaction. And also we find out faculty can also use a lot of technology to give students early feedback. And this is one thing which students really appreciate. A lot of things technology can help you do it easier, but you must have open attitude, willing to do it. At least in my school at USC, for all the graduate courses now are required to be delivered in this technology setting. Okay? And the reason is we believe that is not just digitize the old course, but rather a challenge to really teach the course in a modern way, in a different way. So faculty can benefit a lot. Now, certainly students can also benefit, but students' attitude of how to take advantage of a good e-learning course should also be changed. Because this is not some courses you can sort of take it easy and don't pay attention to until the very end. You just watch the video, and that is not good. So both student and faculty need to change their attitude. Then technology can be a very powerful plus. But if you don't, and if you underestimate the challenge, or if you get scared about the challenge, and technology will not really help you. And so far we believe that the change has already happened. Many professors have very good feedback on these things. But the attitude is the key. The attitude is the key. And the pedagogical change is very significant. And you cannot imagine the joy you can have when you have a good technology integrate together with your course, and you can interact with students which you've never seen before. And one day there will be a student, you run into it, and he or she will tell you that they took your courses and you never even realized that. And that kind of reward is tremendous to all the professors.